2% radio, 98% love. You tuned in, you turned on to the much more turned on station in the nation. 90.3, 96.7, and 101.3. Nice radio for nice people like you, and especially you. I have a surprise for you this morning. My listeners. Good morning, Denisha, and how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Denisha Lavia. She is on what do you call it again? We're trying a thing. We're trying to see if she could work with CTVIEW Multimedia. Now, one of the things that I told her that she has to do first thing when she gets on here is say, good morning, I'm Denisha Lavia, and go ahead, fill in the blanks.
Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm Denisha Lavia. I'm just going to leave you with the scripture this morning. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Okay. And well, how do you feel? How do you feel your first day in radio? You met Randy D, and you have on headphones and what's not. You sit down with a big microphone in front of you. How are you feeling about this? You can't hear?
It's a bit.
All right, that better?
But this is my first time being on air, so it's kind of nervous. Like,
is it going to be your last time? I mean, huh?
I hope for the best. I don't know.
You hope for the best. You don't know. Okay. All right. Today, our guest is Juanita Headley, and we're going to be talking about human trafficking. She just released a book called "Can You Keep a Secret?" The book is available at Games Bookstore, and she's our guest today. And wow, I think this book is timely. Not only that, because I think it brings to light a lot of the problems that we might have here in society, wherein that sometimes some things can be so embarrassing for us that we would sweep it under the rug, that we would hide it, shame, not for the public to know this and that, keep it in the family. But then again, the problem persists. There's a song by Ella Andel. It's called Shame. We're going to start out with that. Denisha, I want you to do me a favor. Being that you're younger than me, you have better eyes than me. You see the back of that book? I want you to read it to the people of Simple City. Step a little closer to the mic. Yes, right there. Yes. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Across three continents, attorney Juanita Headley has witnessed firsthand the sale of men. women, boys, and girls for sex and has met numerous survivors of human trafficking, sexual abuse, rape, and incest. Having presented on human trafficking around the world has discovered the great need to further educate and empower people on this source that has become a form of modern-day slavery. In this book, she takes readers on a journey which starts with the question, can you keep a secret? If your answer is no, or it depends, then this book is definitely for you, because as Juanita
yes.
explains, your answer must be yes, with your mouth, and depends with your head. This book aims to bring to light the issue of child abuse as well as human trafficking, because the two are inexplicable linked. You will first read about Juanita's journey into public speaking and her relationship with Trinidad and Tobago. You will then find tips as well as signs and identifiers on how to uncover it. A person is a victim of abuse or trafficking, and the next step that you need to take when you answer yes to the question.
All right, okay.
Can you keep a secret?
So can you keep a secret?
Yes, I can keep a secret.
And maybe that's a bad idea.
Can you keep a secret?
You come here to sing your tune.
All that we offer behind weak lock and key and for security in cases that all fail, yet keep us tied in jail. Shame on a nation that still rejects its greatness and its mission. Shame, shame on a people who taste their best, not the joys of their living. Shame, 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 shame on a nation. Shame, shame. Are you prepared for when the sins of the parents start to fall on the children? Are you prepared for when the sins of the parents start to fall on the children? You better make preparation. You better make
And
preparation.
yes, we're making preparation. We're making preparation. Gonna take a short commercial pause and be right back. Stick around, stick around.
Shame, 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 right, shame on a nation, shame,
It's
shame.
CTVIEW Multimedia Saturday. Is my thought, especially with today's concern. Okay? That with everything that is transpiring as we speak, especially on the topic that we're going to talk about today, it would seem to persons on the outside looking in that St. Vincent is a very politically divided country. And therefore, with whatever ammunition one side can use or another, whether it is his government authority or whatever that he can, he will use that opportunity for his own political purpose.
Let me ask
But
you-
wait, finish talking. Let me finish, please. But in the meantime, there are 13-year-olds with big bellies. There's 11-year-olds that are sexually abused. And if you say sex abuse in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you are falling right into the category of being politically divisive.
But you see, that's the point I was saying, trying to go when I was injecting there. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Are the things that are being spoken to and spoken of, are they factual? Are they factual? The leader of the country was charged for rape
But you
and
see,
sexual,
but then,
some sexual.
but
some
does that
sexual,
does that make us not being able to talk about it logically?
No, you have to. That is why
We should.
they want to muzzle you.
We
and,
should.
And that's why you have 13-year-old with basketball in the belly. Because you follow the leader. The example is the greatest teacher. If they could do it and get away with it, if they can send somebody to mental home after an alleged sexual affair, then what do you expect the rest of the people to think about? When Dr. Murray has to suffer indignity, not just of only losing this property, but that persons can threaten him that the property belongs to them because the government take it from them without any decency of putting a demarcation of what you have acquired. If you acquire something, put the lines of demarcation to avoid what could actually erupt. I mean, it is an emotional, it is a dangerous situation that exists right now. And if you have a government that basically are putting people against people, that's where the division is. Because what the government has effectively done, because Dr. Murray has spoken, he has said he supports one particular party or the other, but he has spoken out against what he see wrong in the society. It is my opinion that he and his family was targeted, and now they have done it in a way as to create a hostility between the people who are living on the lands that the government acquire by not creating any boundaries, and now have put these people in jeopardy. This is a sad. I go on anyway.
All right, thanks for your contribution. Yes. Wow. There's another song that you said her parents being Jamaican, that I thought that chances are she would have heard of this artist in, like I said, the Barrington Levy song. Puts myself, Lord, people, I cannot take your calls now. Good afternoon, I cannot take your calls now.
All right.
Sorry, take care. Yes. But there's a song by the Mighty Sparrow that I would have used in the interview with Health Solutions when we're talking about fibroid awareness, where I would have mentioned that sometimes we as men don't necessarily think of what all females will have to go through. My guess, and I'm holding the book here proudly, it says you can keep a secret. Juanita Headley, attorney at law, and now author, and world traveler, born again Christian, to extend this message all over the world. From what I have done research with the YouTube videos and reading about it, and also speaking to Miss Headley, she has been all over the world, including sleeping on the ground when she is an attorney. She's an attorney at law, but would fit in culturally to spread this message. And I think this message really, really needs to be heard here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So, please hold your thoughts with your calls until I open their lines. A little piece of the Mighty Sparrow, Precious. For some reason, this thing is going to play one channel and something is not playing properly here. Alright, it works. I got it. Yes, this song, it would seem like the Mighty Sparrow that wrote it about his daughter. It says, from the day you came, life was not the same. It's like a blessing from above. You brought happiness, joy, and love. You know, I use it for the fibroid awareness things, because in a lot of ways, Fibroids, I think, affects 99% of persons of African descent, and is especially prevalent here in the Caribbean. And I was not aware of that. So doing the research and finding that out, it's like we here in the Caribbean. Let me go to Chris Rock. Chris Rock is a comedian that I like a lot, and he would say that his father used to recommend Robitussin for anything. If you sprain your foot, just rub some Robitussin on it. But and it's the same thing. If for somebody who would have gone through what you would have gone through, would be encouraged not to speak about it, but to suck it up. And the problem persists because there is no consequence, at least as far as I can see, for these matters. As a matter of fact, the whole thing has become so much of a football that I wonder if anybody sits back and puts themselves in the position of a person who has been abused and looking for solutions. And those solutions are not coming because of the way it's being handled. Good morning. Juanita Headley. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, okay. Let me get another level check on you. Yes. Okay. Say something in the mic.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, great. I got you. Yes. Well, I did the research, but let the audience know who is Juanita Maud Headley, and why are you here today?
Most certainly. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share. This is a very important message. And my reason for coming out here, in fact, was a presentation that I was invited to do via Zoom some months ago. And my birthday was on Thursday. I turned 16 plus. I don't like to share my age.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm not as young as I look, and people always ask me my age. It's not relevant,
Neither am
Let's
I,
be real.
So you're in good company. Yes.
And honestly, I mean, when you're people of our ethnic origin, we either look 10 years older or younger. So please, no one ask my age. I'm not going to tell you. But because it was my birthday and I've been traveling for the last decade during the time of my birthday, I decided it was an excuse to come to this country. And although the program was via Zoom, I decided, let me get on a flight. And by the grace of God, despite the lockdown situation, I was able to arrive here on the 20th of August. And I'll be here, Lord willing, until September 10th. And my desire is to share on the message of human trafficking and child abuse throughout various platforms, so churches, schools, etc., wherever there's an opportunity to share.
Okay, all right. So just to deviate a little bit, how was the quarantine period? I understand that you have to spend some time in a government-assigned hotel before you are allowed to mingle with the public. Give me a little recollection on your experience in that. I'm sure people are sitting in the United States thinking of coming home, and yes. Can you shed a little light on that, please?
Well, I arrived here from London via Canada, and because I have special privileges, in other words, I have a special connection to Jesus Christ. When I came into the airport, I landed here, and I was seen by an individual, and I was swabbed and tested and the rest. Fortunately, the person who saw me was actually friends with my host and was able to verify where I was going, where I was staying, etc. And I was tested, and within 32 hours, I was cleared. So I did not have to stay in any hotel or anything like that, and I'm very grateful for the fact that, of course, I'm virus-free, but beyond that I didn't have to spend money. I do not have staying in a hotel. I am a pro bono, in other words, an unpaid attorney for the last 5 years. And I quit my job about 2 weeks ago just so I could be here. It's a kind of complicated story, but For me, if I have somewhere to be and I have a ministry that needs to be accomplished, I will quit my job. And so I am currently gainfully unemployed, but I don't have any issue with that. I've done that for 8 years, traveled the world, serving communities, as you rightly said, sleeping on floors and not having very much. But the message is important, so all of those things do not matter to me. And for me, I may come from a wealthy country, but I'm very comfortable being around those who may be impoverished. My favorite country in the world is India. You know, I've been to slums and the rest, and for me, I'm able to adapt. If I'm in India sleeping on the floor, if I'm in the US with attorneys, I'm able to move amongst. And the Jesus I serve, he also likewise was able to do the same thing. So I'm a strong believer, and that is the reason why I do what I do. Most people will not spend 8 years volunteering unpaid, 5 years as a lawyer, but for me, I'm motivated by my faith in God, not by money.
All right. Let's take this back from the inception. I will get what would have motivated you to be doing things like that is the fact that you are a survivor of incest, a survivor of child abuse, and well, give the persons a little bit of that history. You said it started happening when you were 6 years old or something to that. Did I lose the number there? All right. Okay, you go ahead. Sorry.
My mom's first husband, and it's important I say that because she's remarried, and some people ask, is he your dad? No, he's not. I'm an attorney. My parents are Jamaican. I'm very frank and direct, and I say it as it is. I mean, the Bible says, ask and it shall be given. It says to be direct and transparent. And so on the basis of that, I say things very clearly. And my mom's first husband is not my father. That is my mother's first husband. She didn't marry my dad. He is not, to my knowledge. My dad is not a pedophile, to my knowledge. So it was my mother's first husband, and I was 4, not 6. It started from 4 to 10, so it was for 6 years, and it began with tickling, and then his hands slipped, and it progressed on from tickling to attempted rape, and I was sexually abused during my sleep. As a result of that, I have suffered from insomnia my entire life. And so being here, I'm very blessed. My host, Mandisa Stevens, has been a tremendous blessing to me, and I'm very grateful to her. However, the cocks crow at 5 a.m., and they wake me up. And when you've got insomnia, and then you've got wildlife, it's difficult. It is difficult. And unfortunately, despite, I'm not going to say my age, but despite how long ago that happened, I still suffer with the effects of being abused during my sleep. And what I need people to understand is that...
I want you to repeat that, just in case we have a pedophile listening. That understanding that this lady is not 7. And it happened, what you said, started happening when you were...
4 to 10, and I'm now 16.
Yes.
plus.
Okay, yes. And repeat the part where, you being abused in your sleep causes you sleepless nights, even now as an adult who
Certainly.
has graduated college to the point that she has a law degree.
That's right.
Yes.
And what I need people to understand is that no matter what may have happened to us in the past, it will affect our future, not necessarily in a negative way. Therefore, if a person has sleep issues like myself, insomnia, I think it's really important for us to understand there is a root cause to the insomnia. And so when people tell me things such as drink chamomile tea, milk, Horlicks, or Milo, number 1, I'm a vegan. I'm allergic to milk, so that is not helpful. Number 2, there is a reason why I have insomnia, and chamomile tea will not solve that. And so I think it's important for us to always go deeper. Maybe don't necessarily ask the person, why do you not sleep well? But try to understand there is not always a quick fix. And I've met survivors of abuse in Trinidad and Tobago, where I've been going for the last 5 years. I go January and February every year. I've met survivors and victims who also have sleep problems, who were also abused in their sleep. Your sleep is interrupted. And I was talking with my therapist recently. She's from Trinidad, in fact. And she said that you need certain conditions to sleep. I cannot sleep with a light on. I cannot sleep with noise. I cannot sleep with fan. I cannot sleep with anything. It has to be completely dark, completely silent. And she said that it's almost as though it's your way of protecting yourself, because if there's any sound or interruption or any noise, you'd be on the alert. And it does make sense. If you've been abused in your sleep, you're listening out for the door to be opened, right? And so even though it happened years ago, her theory or her explanation is that by you having absolute silence, absolute darkness, you're able to be alert.
Oh, wow. I mean, needless to say, this is something that, wow, and like I said, I hope because there is a slogan that I almost puked when I heard it. is that in Liu after 12 is lunch. Boy, and another reason why I'm so happy that you're here today is that Miss Lavia started working for me on Wednesday. I've been looking for somebody to work with me for quite some time. But on Sunday, when I ran into to Mr. Games, who I was originally asked for your number, something very peculiar happened. Somebody came and met me, myself and Mr. Games at a business place. It was a lady and her daughter, and she mentioned to Mr. Games that her daughter is looking for a job. Me, desperate for somebody to work with me, offered the young lady a job. You know, I would have messaged you up to 11 something last night. I would have gotten up after 4. I think I sent you another message then. So get the gist as to what my schedule is. We're getting from concept to reality. And with that in mind, I offered the young lady a job. She promised to call me. When she did get in touch with me come Monday morning, there was a lot of accusations of what is being done in Liu, where her mother did investigations on me and my company, and she is pretty much accusing me of being the worst. And I said to myself, well, I really have to have this lady on the program here today, because look at how much it affects me. Look at how much this stigma can affect employment, can affect apprenticeship. Because one of the things that I pride myself with is me too. I don't know if you can call me a born-again Christian. I am a Christian. I'm an Anglican. I believe in letting my light shine so bright amongst men that they may see my good works and glorify my Father who is in heaven. I'm 58 years old. There's a lot of things I know how to do. Graphics, audio production, video production. I think I told you that the reason that the promo took so long is because I was trying to have it done. The vision I had in my head was, to have this, this killer promo, because this thing is very important to me. But time did not permit that. And therefore, getting back to the same thing with the young lady, it took to the point where I was being interviewed by the police. The police would have called and I understand you giving people your number and telling people you have business. What kind of business you have? Is it registered? Yes, it's been registered since 2008. But understand the fear that is prevalent in this society where that is concerned. And the fact that we have 46% reported unemployment. I'm wondering if anybody really understands the depth of the problems that we're about to talk about here. And why I would have gone above and beyond to get your number. Because in a lot of ways, persons like me who would have spent time in the United States, sometimes people are not necessarily welcoming of you. Wherein that they think you know everything. But no, it's not that. My accent has not changed. 26 years in America I spent, and my accent has not changed. But I've seen how things have been dealt with differently. I've made suggestions in the United States that was accepted I had a marketing company in the United States as well. So this matter, having this snowball effect multiplying, rolling down the hill and gathering mass, and I see another 11-year-old. Another thing too, Miss Headley, I was sitting on my porch where I do most of my work, Miss Lavia could attest. I saw an 11-year-old get abused. Seven o'clock, I came about and talked about it on the radio here. Because I know I was shot in 2018, and there's less of a confrontation nature in me. So I was not going to personally intervene right then and there, but I came and made an appeal on the radio the next time I got on air and asked the young lady she could contact, I think, the police or whatever, but understand I was there for you, and this is how I can be here for you now. And you were saying in interviews, well, I haven't really gotten to read the book. I got the book like after 9 o'clock last night. That was another spin. But the book is called "Can You Keep a Secret?" Why did you call the book "Can You Keep a Secret"?
I believe that it's a question that children ask parents, caregivers, because they're trying to communicate something. And I say that because when I was being abused, I asked my grandfather and my aunt, "Can you keep a secret?" And they responded, "It depends." And then I asked them a few months or years later, and they responded, "It depends." If they had responded yes, I would have confided in them that I was being abused. And I believe my life would have had a whole different outlook than it does currently. Even when adults are speaking amongst themselves and they want to disclose something personal, they might say, for example, "Is this going to stay in the room? Is it confidential?" It's the same question. What a lot of people don't understand is it's very difficult to disclose being abused, especially as a child. How many children do you know that freely talk about sex, let alone being violated? Most parents don't even use the correct terminology when they're talking to their children. In fact, I know of a girl in the US who came to school and said, "Daddy's eating my cookie." That was her private parts. And so when she said cookie, nobody knew what was going on. And so imagine if the child is being abused and trying to disclose that, but using the wrong language, nobody's going to know. And that's the challenge. And so, number one, we need to call it private parts or genitals. Get rid of the cookie, pumpkin, butterfly, banana business and call it what it is. Number two, when a child discloses to you of abuse, you need to respond appropriately to that. And if you read the newspaper yesterday, there was an article, and in that it states that we should stop sweeping this issue under the carpet. And this is cultural-wide. It's not just here. It's not just in the Caribbean community, African community. It is an issue of many individuals where we hear of something and we make excuses or defend it, etc., and that is not appropriate. Now, it's interesting because I spoke recently on Thursday, in fact, I had my first presentation, and I asked the question, "Can you keep a secret?" And I explained the reason why we need to respond yes to the question and the steps thereafter. So, for example, if anyone comes up to you and says, "Can you keep a secret?" you respond yes with your mouth, and "it depends" with your head. And then, for example, the child might say, "Daddy's eating my cookie." And then you tell them, "I have to break your trust and phone the police," or some variation of that. Someone asks you, "Can you keep a secret?" You say yes. When they've told you the secret, you tell them your next steps, and then you take those steps. Now, some people overcomplicate it. It really isn't complicated at all. You listen to the secret, then you determine what to do. You do not call the girl's father and ask him if he's abusing his daughter. he's going to deny it, obviously. And he will hide the evidence, obviously. Even, God forbid, if the child is lying, that is an issue, but allow the police to investigate, because when it comes out that the child has lied, the police will know how to deal with that. Because far too often we hear about instances of abuse and we keep it in the family. So when we have girls who are promiscuous or prostituting themselves, you're there judging and blaming her. In fact, it's her parents' fault because they didn't do anything when they found out she was being abused. And for some of these girls who are selling their own bodies, it's because they feel empowered. It was taken for free. I'm now going to make money on my body.
You know, and to me, that is something like that is prevalent in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I think most females make a judgment on themselves based on their sexuality as opposed to any other facet of their personality. You know, and that is evident. Well, it's evident in the demeanor. It's evident in a lot of. It's even evident with my episode with that on Sunday, with what would have transpired with me on Sunday, and I really hope that persons are hearing where this is concerned. Now, I hate to bring it up, but give me an instance where this has affected you personally in life today as an adult, especially where relationships are concerned.
Well, the first thing I'll say, and this is important, I'm a believer, I'm a born-again Christian, baptized by full immersion, and I always start by saying, healed in Jesus' name. The Bible says there's life and death in the tongue. Words have power. We forget that the Lord spoke, the world came into existence. So I always have to start with healed in Jesus' name. Even if I don't feel I'm healed, I have to say what I wish would come into existence and what I hope is taking place, or the transformation is occurring as we speak. And so I always start with healed in Jesus' name, but, and that's the problem with God, there's no buts, but here's the but. But I used to have low self-esteem. I used to be insecure. I used to have angry issues. I used to wet the bed. I used to have few friends. I used to be unable to hold down a job, which clearly hasn't changed. I just quit it 2 weeks ago. And quite often with survivors of abuse, the signs and identifiers that you'll find in children are still in them as adults. And so we have, for example, obesity. Now, not every obese person was abused, but sometimes they are. For me personally, I have strong Christian values and morals, so I am not promiscuous, I am not a prostitute or anything. And I know that the Bible I read, the King James Version, not the Queen James that you can find on Amazon that endorses homosexuality, but in the King James Version, it speaks about celibacy. And I'm just going to be very frank here and say there are a lot of people who call themselves Christian in this country, but they don't actually know what celibacy is because they're sleeping with their boyfriend or fiance or whatever. And the Bible is clear, sex after marriage, not before. And so because of that, I have those beliefs, I have those values. I am single, not by choice. It's simply the Lord's will for my life at this point. And truth be told, a lot of the guys I meet, they don't share the same Christian values of sex after marriage, not before. I will say, though, that I do meet people who tend to have a lot of anger issues, and they've been abused themselves sexually. And even for myself, unfortunately, the anger issues are still there. The insomnia was there August 26th, the day before my birthday. And so, like I says, signs and identifiers can be found in children, but there are so many adults who still have those issues, even into their adulthood. And so I always encourage people that when there are dysfunctional people in your world, instead of judging them, ask yourself mentally why. Don't come up to me and say, oh, why are you so angry all the time? That is stupid. Don't ask me that. Try to understand. I sometimes can be very defensive. I build a wall. I push people away. There is a reason for that. Asking me will not get you the solution because sometimes we don't even realize why we behave that way. For me, I'm pretty much angry at the world. I'm either happy or angry at the world. And so when I communicate at times, it comes across as angry. And then people get pushed away because they don't want to stick around an angry person without trying to understand what is the root cause of this anger. And I don't have the answers to that, but I will say I've met a lot of survivors who do have this anger too.
Thank you. I can only imagine, because and like I said, I'm hoping pedophiles are listening, or potential pedophiles are listening, and understanding that this person sitting in front of me in a few years can be the ones that you are abusing, can be the ones that are in your care that you're abusing. Now, quickly, was the authorities ever involved with your personal situation? Was there justice? Was there any semblance of justice?
I appreciate the question, actually. People don't usually ask me that. What I always say when I share is that in the eyes of the law, LAW, justice was never served. But in the eyes of the Lord, it certainly will be and has been. My stepfather died. I won't say how old I was, but he died some years ago, sort of recently. And I went to the funeral, and my mother took me against her wishes, but took me to the funeral. And he had a pauper's funeral. There were very few people in attendance. He had a biological daughter. She's still alive, of course. He had a daughter 1 year older than myself. And, of course, he didn't abuse her, right? But when I went to the funeral... well, that's true. Yeah. When I went to the funeral, I cried hysterically the whole time. I touched the body. And I went up and I said on the pulpit that I loved him. Now, I did not know that because he's a pedophile and screwed up my life. However, he groomed me. Grooming is when you prepare for work, for school, or you prepare someone for sex. He groomed me, and so he was my best friend. A lot of people who don't understand grooming will not understand why he was my best friend. But I was groomed. It's like a form of brainwashing. Remember, I was abused in my sleep. That means I was allegedly sleeping, right? So he didn't say, keep it a secret. He didn't talk to me. He just tried to rape me. But in the daytime, he'd buy me candy, let me stay up late, special privileges. So it was like two different people. So it's not that every time a child's been abused, they've been silenced. Every story is different, and that is important to note. So when it stopped at 10, I was maybe around 12, and he asked me to engage in sexual activity with him. This was in the daytime. And I said no and walked away. Not every child has the strength to do so. He asked me, I won't repeat on air, he asked me to do something, work it out, and I walked away and said no. Then when I was around 15, I believe, because my birthday is August, just before the summer holidays, when I was around 15, he showed me a video. The video was of him and my mother having sex. He showed me that to groom me. Remember, it stopped when I was 10.
Father, forgive them, they know not what they do.
Right, exactly. At 10, it stopped, but at 15, he obviously wanted to start things up again, and so he showed me a video. And so for those strong Christians who know their Bible, or even those who are not strong Christians but know the scripture, the marriage bed is not defiled, I strongly discourage you from making porn in your marriage, because that porn video can be used to groom your child or somebody else's. So don't be making pornography in your marriage, because if you're not married, you should not be having sex anyway, according to the Bible. Just saying it as it is.
Let's go to the WhatsApp here. For those who are wondering, I'm in tears. You know. Let me see what's going on with the WhatsApp. This is not clicking. But let me apologize on behalf of all men and on behalf of all potential rapists there is in the world. Okay? I spent 16 years as a professional entertainer, and one of the things that, as an entertainer, that you would hope to do is to relieve pain. Bob Marley has a song that says, one good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. As an entertainer, you're supposed to identify the persons in your audience with the most pain and inject your medicine to the point where those persons, upon expressing themselves, will draw other persons to join into the party. You know, I choose this song by Sparrow, and right now another song is coming to my mind. It's Lil Wayne, rapper artist Lil Wayne. But like I said, I'm trying to click on the WhatsApp here. It says, "Good morning, Carlisle. Good morning, Carl. No disrespect. Good morning, Carl. I want to change the direction of your program. Talk about one of the regular call. No. Good morning, Carl. No disrespect to your guest, but I heard what? I heard her correctly when I heard her correctly. Then when arrived in SVG, she was swabbed by a gentleman because of some connection. She was allowed to leave without spending time in hotel in quarantine. My goodness, unbelievable. We now live in Vincent, students returning home from vacation. K120. All right, that's...
Let me correct that, right? Because I like information to be given clearly, and sometimes we don't hear things straight up. I said that the person knew my host. That was obviously a great thing. I was tested for the virus. I will repeat, I was tested for the virus. I do not have the virus. I was cleared in 32 hours. But the person was able to verify the premises where I was staying and the person who I was staying with. And I did not leave the premises of the place. So don't get it twisted, please. I say it respectfully. There was no requirement for me to go into a hotel because I'm coming from the United Kingdom. The law is different. If I came from Miami, your statement would be correct. I did not come from Miami. So let's get it clear.
Okay.
The person knew my friend, could verify where I was staying. Okay. Yeah, remember, I'm a foreigner, never been here before. They could verify. I did not leave the premises. I don't have virus, so don't get it twisted, please.
All right, okay. Next WhatsApp says, "Good morning, Carlisle. Talks too much. It's a turn for me. I thought I shouldn't mention it, but I guess they're trying to say that I'm talking too much." It's Lavia. Do you have any questions for our guest? Let me ask you, Miss Lavia, have you ever been abused?
No.
No?
No.
Nobody never abused your trust? No. And I think it's... here especially, where the schoolgirls are concerned, you will hear things about teachers and also conductors or van drivers who would, take advantage of, as a matter of fact,
schoolgirls.
we here supposed to be changing. We're supposed to be enhancing our tourism product in Layou, and it scares me for two reasons. One, the legal age of consent in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, if I'm not mistaken, is 15. And we have a serious unemployment problem here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. One of the things I did after the police called me on this matter, I went up to the police station and I said, "Do you have any idea? I sit on my porch working every day and see a lot of young mothers going towards the child care center that is not too far from my house. And half of them I have offered employment to. But a lot of them who have given me their number, thinking that I do not have the intentions that I do. So we have a problem here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have a problem here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And keep on battering on it politically. It's not working.
I wanted to say, though, when you asked her if she's been abused, obviously she's going to say, not saying you've been abused, obviously she'd say no. You've just put her on the spot. And then even if, I believe she's telling the truth, even if she had been abused, often we don't know it. So there are times when a person's been abused and they don't know it because, let's say, that it's normal or that's just what your husband does. Remember, no boyfriend business, right? That's what your husband does. That's normalized. Or your mom and dad, that's what you saw. So often people don't actually identify. And when people have asked me, I'm not saying she's been abused. I'm just saying, when people ask me, I'd say no. And I'd be real straight-faced about it. And you can't ask someone on air. They're going to deny it because that's opening a whole can of worms, right? So even if she had been or hadn't been, the answer would, of course, be no. You see what I mean? Not everybody can share their personal. And like I said, sometimes we don't actually even realize because cultural differences. So if you've grown up seeing your dad hit your mom, that's normal for you. But that's actually abuse. Abuse can also be verbal, where things are said to you. It could even be being shown pornography, right? It's not even about sexual touching. If you hear your parents having sex, that is abuse. If your parents are naked, or parent, mom or dad is naked in front of you, that is abuse. Quite simply. If your parent or whoever watches you nude, that is abuse. There was no touching. And often we don't know that. So any one of us can say, no, I wasn't abused, without realizing, actually you were. And that's the scariest thing about it, because if it's normalized, you'll do the same thing to your child. Because I heard of a story right here in this country of a girl who was being abused sexually by her father, rape or attempted rape or sexual assault. And on one occasion, the brother came in and interrupted. He just came upon what was happening, and the dad said he could join in.
Oh, boy.
That is sick. And I read an article in the United States of a husband and wife couple who had security cameras downstairs in the basement, and they were selling their daughter for sex on the internet. And when they were asked why, they said, well, it's a good way to make money. This is in the United States. Their daughter was 6 months old and was being sold for sex. So therefore, any one of us could have been abused at 6 months and we wouldn't know it. Let's be real. Who remembers what took place when you were 6 months? And it ain't just in the US. It happens everywhere. Unless people are not having sex, then there's no sex abuse. People have sex, therefore there is sex abuse. In babies, in newborns, in girls and boys. Women and men can be abused too. And it's sick and depraved, and it breaks my heart, but someone has to do this work. Somebody has to do it. I can't even imagine 6-month-old. I mean, that's just messed up.
No, I can't imagine it, period. Because and you see, and what is more and more, what reveals itself more and more is that nothing is being done about it. There is no conclusion where it is concerned, because every time your mouth is open about it, you assumed to be on one side of the political spectrum or another. And therefore, the political coloration of it takes away from the seriousness of the problem, and the problem continues to persist. In my opinion. People still saying I'm talking too much. But put yourself in my shoes. You're not looking at Miss Headley. I've seen her eyes like twice. She's sitting across from me. I haven't seen a beautiful black woman. Me too, I have spent time with models as a photographer. And you hold the camera and try to get a position. You try to use words to get a reaction as to what you're looking for. Let me open the lens. Okay? Y'all say I'm talking too much? Let me hear what you have to say. 456-5967. 718-734-5615. I have 2 children here. Nice radio, good afternoon, you're live.
Carl?
Yes. Yeah,
Hello?
Yes, Lizette, go ahead.
Carl, it's okay. Don't be too moved. What a program. Now you want to make me break down. What's the matter with you?
It's not about me. Please.
Miss Headley?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All I need, the most important thing I need from you this morning is your contact.
Most certainly. I'll give it out on air. Absolutely.
Yes.
My number is...
And
wait.
I would want to...
Wait, before you do that, let me give my number because there are people who want it. 454-1693. 454-1693.
Good. Now, I want to book you for Monday evening before anybody else does.
Done.
Monday evening at 8, and I shall contact you.
Please do. Wait, before you go.
thing-
Wait, before you go. What's your name?
I'll tell you when I call you.
No worries.
Let me tell you. You know what moved me, even before you said the story, is that you sleep on the ground. A few years ago, in a rigged election, I was prepared to go on the street and get that story out. And part of my protest was to sleep outside of the electoral office. You know, to this day, I know who I am, so it doesn't bother me. To this day, I'm called the cockroach woman, the rat woman, and all sorts of things. So thank you for letting it known that there are all sorts of ways of getting the story out. Before you go, I would like you to talk about, I think I heard Carl say something about human trafficking, but I didn't hear you address it. The reason for this is that I am very suspicious, based on a story that came out about 2 years ago, where a young lady was pushed to the mental asylum and medicated and is now running amok. I am convinced that there was an element of human trafficking. And so I would like you to address that, but I'll say more when we do make contact sometime today.
Definitely.
And very much more on Monday evening.
Yes.
When we speak. You take care, and I'm sure
too.
Carl will tell you who I am. Take
Okay,
care.
wonderful. Thank you. And again, my number is 454-1693. 454-1693, and I will certainly cover human trafficking. So thank you for saying that.
Thank you. And Carl,
Yes.
you hit it out the ballpark. Take care.
I'm trying to hit the problem out to the ballpark.
Let me just touch on human trafficking because I think that's really important, and I appreciate the caller, our anonymous caller, for actually getting me to move to that section of the conversation. With regards to human trafficking, I don't use legal terms because I speak to laymen. I've been to 38 countries thus far, and I give my message wherever I go. As you just shared yourself earlier, that you are, I'm paraphrasing, you're a light that is not under a bushel, sits on a hill that cannot be hidden. When we have information, we need to share it. The Bible is clear, people perish for lack of knowledge. And this information is something we all need so we can safeguard and protect one another. It is important to point out that human trafficking is not just about children. Any one of us, male or female, young or old, can be trafficked. And that is important to note. Let's be realistic. It is a lot easier to traffic a Chinese person in China than one of us because we'd stand out like a sore thumb. Therefore, my focus is not on immigration. We've heard that before. My focus is on domestic trafficking. For example, you could be born in Kingstown, live in Kingstown, and be trafficked in Kingstown. If your mum or dad is your pimp, you don't even have to leave your bedroom to be trafficked. So let me be clear here. Trafficking does not require movement. It does not require movement. It does not require kidnapping like the movie Taken. The way that I put it quite simplistically, whenever you have men and women and sex, you have sex trafficking. Whenever you have restaurants, businesses, and establishments, you have labor trafficking. When you have sick people, people with ailments, you have organ trafficking. It is simply the exploitation of another human being. And the first human trafficking story was Joseph in the Bible. His brothers trafficked him into labor. Human trafficking is not new. Smuggling is completely different. That is when a person wants to go to another country and they consent to that. Trafficking is when the consent has been removed. You've been given a false promise of a job. You've been told that you'll be working in a restaurant. Instead, it's a sex bar. You don't receive sufficient wages. You're taken advantage of. We often don't know what trafficking looks like, but it could be right in front of your face. You simply don't know it. And the reality is human trafficking is hidden in plain sight. I heard of a girl in the United States. I saw it on Facebook. The young girl, her dad would actually take her to Disneyland, to the park, to the fun fair, and he would send her to the restroom. Let's say her name was Susan, for example. And then a guy would come in, Susan, Susan, where are you? And she'd come out of the restroom. He'd take her hand and they would leave the restroom. He'd buy her candy floss or an ice cream. Now let's imagine this happened here, for example, and you see a black guy with a black girl walking hand in hand and she's eating an ice cream. Or she's eating mango. You would assume, because they're the same ethnic origin and she's not screaming or bawling out, you'd assume they know each other. You would have had no idea the girl was just sold for sex by her father. And when you understand that reality, that makes it very scary. But the Bible says we should not have a spirit of fear, but of power and of a sound mind. So I'm not trying to make people paranoid. I'm not even trying to make you aware, because awareness, in my opinion, is knowing and doing nothing. For example, it's sunny outside, and you say, I'm aware. I do not raise awareness. That is not why I work for free, sleep on floors, struggle with very little money. That's not what I'm doing. I am here to educate you and empower you with the tools to protect your children. I cannot protect them. It's your responsibility. You need to buy my book. The book is 70 EC, 70, 60, that's 60. 60% of the profits will be used to build safe houses in the Philippines. What's a safe house? That's where girls and boys will be living, separately, of course. Why the Philippines? Because it is #1 for cyber sex trafficking. That is where girls and boys sexually abuse each other in the Philippines for usually a white man in the UK, Australia, Korea who watches this and eventually comes over and has sex with the child. We have parents doing the same thing. With the lockdown, people losing their jobs. They've got a pretty son or daughter. What are they going to do? Sell them on the internet. We have kids sending nude photographs to each other, making TikTok videos in the shower, and pedophiles see that and start talking to these children and asking them for nude photographs. We have to set an example.
And beyond that, even right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, somebody would have called in with a contribution, and I would have spoken to a counselor, an ex-counselor. I actually could not take the job anymore. She quit. With regards to this, there is a website called White Men for Vincentian Women, where 15-year-olds would tell their mother that they gone by their friend or they gone by the beach and end up within the Grenadines. There's 2 of them in Camden Park with an STD. One is HIV positive. Like I said, I have 2 children raising in this society. What is going to be the norm of our new society? Like I said, they changed the age of consent to 15. When we are going to turn the wheel in our economy from agriculture to tourism? Are we being a sex tourism attraction? 4565967. All you think I talking too much? 718-734-5615. He who has ears to hear, let them hear. You have something to say. You can speak to the world on this. Are you as passionate about this as I am? You're afraid somebody gonna recognize your voice? Let's see who on the line. Good afternoon. You're live on Nice Radio.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ms. Headley.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to St. Vincent, and thank you for your contribution towards sexual abuse and sex trafficking in our country.
Very welcome.
I only been able to hear, sorry, feedback. I've only been able to hear, the few last minutes of the program, and I couldn't resist calling. Now, I am a survivor of child sexual abuse here in St. Vincent, and I have recently completed a research in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on child sexual abuse, and the findings is very disturbing. But I want to say something here, having listened to the program. Sexual abuse or child sexual abuse in St. Vincent is not something new. It's not something that has just happened. It's not something that has just happened a few years ago. It is an old issue. Before I did my study, I piloted my instrument with women in their 60s and others who a different age range, right? And what I have discovered, I'm a counselor, I'm a professional counselor, and I'm also a school counselor. And what I have discovered in my interaction as a counselor, almost every gathering, 1 out of 3 women in St. Vincent and the Grenadines would have experienced some form of sexual abuse as children at some point or another. So I am glad that, like you said, Ms. Headley, it's not just an awareness for people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because it is about educating. But what I don't want the nation to go away thinking is that sexual abuse and trafficking, human trafficking and stuff like that is an issue that has now come on the scene. I want people to understand that this is something that has been happening in our country for years. There is something in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I want to believe it's a spirit of lust that caused the men to think that they have the right to victimize and violate women and the men, because our boys too are experiencing child sexual abuse or sexual abuse and victimization of all sorts. So I want us to know that. But the thing is, for so long, it has been a taboo in our country that it is something that is hardly ever spoken about. And not only is it a taboo, the shame that the victims carry, because to say, I have been sexually abused, let's say it's incest, who is going to believe? I remember doing a practicum at the family court and sitting in the court, listening into a case where a 5-year-old would have been questioned for more than an hour, and the perpetrator was released because all the 5-year-old could have said was, I can't repeat that on air, but the 5-year-old was not able to articulate what had happened to her. You understand? And therefore, there was no justice for that 5-year-old. And so these are the things that are happening in our country that are not known, but people are not speaking up because it is a taboo, and nobody wants to say that his or her child or daughter is being molested, even if they are aware. And another thing that is happening that I've discovered in my study is that some parents are aware that their children are abused. As a matter of fact, like you talked about the trafficking, that is exactly what's happening. And they would use economic reasons. There is an exchange for sex, and children are being, and youths are being used. And so I really appreciate this talk on today. I appreciate the fact that somebody outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is able to say this is
black and white. There is no color in this. And somebody has to do it. Somebody needs to speak out. And another reason why I really appreciate this is that we find oftentimes intentions are not, I don't know, there is something about you going out there and telling your story or trying to educate people, not just merely raise awareness, but trying to educate people, but you're shut down. Nobody listens to you. But who is she to say what? But here somebody comes in, right, the same experience, but persons are now listening. And I'm glad for that because it's a start. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, God. Thank you, Father. I remember the lines are open 4565967 or 718-734-5615. I remember a couple months ago, I went to Kingstown and there was a special day for guides and brownies. And what I remember especially is it was the first time I'm hearing the sound. It was the first time I'm hearing the sound. It seemed like about some 4-year-olds dressed up as brownies, singing this song at the top of their voice. I am a warrior. I'm a Christian warrior. Good afternoon, you're live on Nice Radio.
Good afternoon.
Good day.
Good afternoon, Carly, and the person who is on the program, your guest.
Yes, Miss Juanita Headley. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting program. Every Saturday I listen to your program because it's really very interesting.
Thank you.
But today I really, really can't believe what I'm hearing. Mm-hmm. I am so touched. I didn't get to a bruise. I almost. But you know what happened? I was living with my grandfather and his wife. And his wife, he was a nasty guy.
Wow.
So we used to go in the land to work, plant potato and stuff like that. But I and him mostly go in the land and work. Not her. Mm-hmm. She hardly used to go. But what happened? She put me on my guard. Mm-hmm. So when he tried, I did already know what he's coming from. Mm-hmm. You know those cake body line? I guess you might know those cakes.
Yes,
what we used to call body line.
Richmond Hill School, man. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
So I did love those cakes. And he know I love those cakes. So he buy the cake for me and try to catch me. Mm-hmm. But when he looking for me in the ground, I was on my way home. Mm-hmm. So I went home and I tell his wife what happened. But I can't remember now if she ever confront him about it. But I tell you, I was on my guard and I was happy that she put me on my guard, but I was old enough though to know what he was really coming from. I was old enough, and I was in America a few years ago, and I have 2 granddaughters. They nearly get raped, but I tell you, when you are a God-fearing person, God always guide you and take you through. So when I got the news, well, my daughter, she went away on holiday and she leaves these 2 children with someone. But maybe the neighbor was having an eye and he knew exactly what was going on. One of them, I think she was 8, and I think the other one, I think she may be around 7 or 8. So they are 3 years apart. Okay? So anyhow, our house burglar bars, the guy cut the lock on the burglar bar. He came into the house, and the smallest one was sleeping in her mother's room, and she felt this guy touch her toe, and she woke up, and she says, "Get out! What you doing here? Get out!" And Carla, you will not believe that man just walked right out of the house. He walked straight out of the house, but he came back another night. He came back another night, and he came back naked as he was born. Because maybe he figured if somebody grabbed him, he wouldn't have any clothes on. So he came back naked as he born. But we live in wrong neighbors, so they scream out. And when they scream out, he actually run. We make the report to the police. Well, the police will take a statement. But they say who the guy was, They never arrested the guy. I don't even think they ever talked to the guy. When I came from New York, I went to the CID myself. And I later complained to the police there one more time because I figured that they didn't do anything serious and I need something serious to be done. I went there myself and later complained, and up to this day, nobody never come to my house and asked nothing. Up to this very day. I speak it all on radio and nobody never come to my house this day and ask for no information again. I tell you, this country is really ridiculous. The guy who say you are talking too much, if it's a man or a woman, maybe your talking is affecting them.
Yep.
You're hitting the nail on the head.
That's right.
So you continue talking and we are listening. Have a blessed day, you and your
You
day.
too. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Yes, you know, because at the end of the day, like I said, let's get back to these because the phone rang when I was talking about it. There was a special day for guides and brownies. And there were guides and brownies all over Kingstown. And I remember some little tots swinging their arms in all earnesty, singing, I Am a Warrior. It's the first time I heard the song. I couldn't really understand what they're saying because they're speaking like 4-year-olds. Like a bunch of 4-year-olds singing the same song. But it was this one. What is the message we're trying to tell me? So that you could be a warrior at 4 years old. But reality is going to make you accept the nastiness of our society. And go ahead and take to fencing. And suck it up. 456-5967 is the number to call us. 718-734-5615. Sing it with me. 4-year-olds, if you hear it, as they swing their arms on Back Street in Kingston. Like I said, we changed the age to 15 and we changed the direction of our we changed it to tourism. Is this the same denial for persons who have to use the little Tokyo bathroom? Is it the same thing? Well, okay, because somebody sent me a message and I was saying, well, Carla, half of it is the parents' fault. The problem is that also where some parents literally sell their daughters for themselves to acquire a job. Nice radio, good afternoon, your life.
Good afternoon, Carla. How are you?
Still trying my best to try my best. Still trying my best to try my best.
Yeah, but you better get your blood pressure taken when you finish because you're very emotional.
Sometimes you're concerned, but it's not about me.
Yeah, but you have to look after you too. And let me say good afternoon to your
to Miss Headley.
Yes, I forget the name.
Juanita Headley.
Yeah. Miss Headley, welcome to St. Vincent.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for your information. And, I used to look at Dr. Phil. And because of this same sex abuse business with not even children, with babies, I would say because, this child who got away from the pen that they had them and everything one time, she spoke about she was a baby when her mother and her father sold her.
Mm-hmm.
This is with, people who have money will buy these kids, have them in pens and, being abused by their friends. And, they will like that. And when they have to, they have the mental, do what they have to do with them. They'll clean them up and put on makeup and everything. And after doing what they have them do, they put them back in cage. And, through that, I stopped looking at Dr. Phil. I just recently started looking sometimes. And it's the same thing going on almost every day. It's, even young girls running away from home and, because of the oh boy, because of being abused, because, they think they're abused at home or what, but they, by cyber messages on the phone and everything, they meet this person and it's not what they, it's supposed to be. I mean, it's really, it's like something that has gone out of control right now to me.
Yes.
And I just think we need more praying and more, lifting up our children, other people's children, not even yours.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really disgusting. And I mean, for what you did, and another thing, people see you. They don't know what you had to do to accomplish what you achieved.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a tag in you that you do this or you do that and what that, and because look what you're doing.
Mm.
How many of us will do it?
Exactly.
So it's appreciative, and God is in control. The main thing is that we have to be God fearing.
That's right.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Talk to you again.
You're welcome.
Well, we actually went way over time. But I want you to share this. This song reminds me of a trying time that I had in America, and I would have called my father. And my father, who was my superhero, started to sing this song to me. It says, walk on with hope in your heart and understand that you'll never walk alone. My life is not going to be the same again after today. To hear okay, the song. To hear of these issues
when you walk
and see the actual person in front of you is night and day. Nice radio. Good afternoon, your life.
Good afternoon, Carla.
Yes, sir.
And good afternoon to your guest.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. I think you have really been a tower of strength to our nation at this particular point in time as we go through this whole, I call it a facility, where we can at least listen and learn something. I have 2 incidents to share. I remember as a school teacher, I had this encounter with a 7-year-old girl who was abused. And we went through the entire ordeal. This girl came to us the morning and we went through, as I said before, we went to the police. The guy got arrested. And this girl was 7 years old. We had to remove the girl from the particular environment that she was in. And we as the person that we thought we were responsible for, we tried our endeavor best to advance the persecution of this violator. And to date, we were finally told that the police somehow or the other lost the files of this little girl. So this 7-year-old, who is now 13, never had her day in court. She has never been heard. She has never given her story. She was able to explain in her interview exactly what transpired, where it transpired. She was able to go to the exact location where the rape happened. And as I said before, she has never had her day in court because indicated that they misplaced the records of this particular incident. The second incident that I would like to share is where a police woman in St. Vincent and the Grenadines accused a politician of raping her. And this police woman also has never had her day in court to face her accuser. And I believe it is of my view that this incident with this policewoman has not only the image of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but it has at least given these pedophiles, these rapists, these abusers, some type of satisfaction, some type of leverage where they can now think that whatever they do, they are above the law. We have heard about cases in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that where the abusee, the one who has been abused, the one who has been exploited, they will take it to this far and then they would resign themselves not to give any further evidence. And your story this morning, Miss Headley, your story this morning clearly paints a picture as to the traumas that these people would continue to go through and some of the reasons why they fail to see this story to the very end, because perhaps they are still afraid. They have never been counseled. They have never been brought to any point in their own reality, in their own circumstance, where they can perhaps begin to see and feel some level of self-satisfaction, some level of freedom from this particular episode. They have probably never been counseled, where they can see themselves as still being independent of this particular violation. And so they refuse to take the matter further. They refuse to go and give testimony. You know, we have heard cases and cases of wives, of say people who are living together, especially from the female's perspective, who have been continually abused by their spouses, by the person that who they're with, and they refuse to take the matter further. And I believe, as you were suggesting this morning, these people are still living in a lot of fear, a lot of suppressed anger, a lot of suppressed feelings that they have never been counseled through. I know we in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we lack services, especially for these types of persons. So I am thanking you for your voice this morning, and I'm hoping that this voice will continue to resonate in our little island, and that it will promote a feeling of emancipation from these victims, that they will perhaps come to the fore a little bit more now and begin to say, I am not a victim. I have been abused, but I am not a victim anymore. I am now a liberated young woman, a liberated mature woman, whatever the case may be, but I am now liberated, and I will no longer allow my oppressor to have his knee on my neck, keeping me down.
Neither the knee on the neck, neither the knee on your mind either.
Thank you so much.
Every day is the beautiful day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it and go forth and shine like a blazing fire. That way, whatever the devil see with only is only whatever anybody else see. The only conclusion they can come to that, hey, there is a God. There is a God. It's that simple. In the meantime, the book is available at Games Bookstore, as far as I know. Anything for persons who are in the diaspora, is it available online? Any online? Is it?
Not at the moment. So
okay.
As of right now, it's available at Games Bookstore. It's 7070 EC, and as I shared earlier, 60% of the profits goes to charity for building safe houses in the Philippines. I also have t-shirts available for sale. It's for a good cause, so please purchase the book to be educated, empowered, and also to be able to know that you're making an impact and a change in a country that is number one for cyber sex trafficking, which is the Philippines. I'm here, Lord willing, until September 10th of this year. If I can stay longer, I certainly will, but for right now, September 10th. If you know of anywhere throughout the entire islands, plural, that I can speak on this message, please reach out to me. I speak 7 days a week, all day, every day. I am available because this is an important message. I don't know if or when I will return. I'm here now, so please do take advantage. I do not charge for what I do, but of course donations are appreciated for me to continue this work. You can reach out to me once again on my number, which is 454-1693, 454-1693. I'm also on Facebook. My name is Changing Cases, Changing, C-A-S-E-S, Changing Cases. Website, changingcases.org, changingcases.org. Please do reach out to me. As I said, I'm available to speak, to share. If you want to get copies of my book, please reach out. And I really have to say before I go that I want to show appreciation where appreciation is due to Mr. Dennis Games. He is an amazing individual. We met on Saturday, exactly a week ago. We met for the first time ever. And he is my PA, bodyguard, everything. He is amazing. And I'm sure many of you will also say that he is an awesome person. He is somebody who truly has made an impact in your country. And I said to him yesterday, because I'm a very sentimental person, I said to him, you're like an uncle to me. And I said that I love you. And quite often we do not want to express gratitude to people so openly, especially when they're a stranger, right? As Christians, we know 1 Corinthians talks about love. And the Bible says, call no man on earth your father, but your Father in heaven. So I consider Dennis to be like an uncle. According to the Bible, call no man on earth your father, but your Father in heaven. And he is amazing. And I said this to him, and I'll say it on air. I said, you know, when you pass away, when you die, you'll be missed. And it might sound morbid, but he is the most amazing person I have met in your island. He is truly phenomenal. I'm blessed to have had an amazing host, Mandisa Stevens, who has blessed me above and beyond, prepares me meals, is hosting me, the generosity of that. And I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to her. She is the reason I met Mr. Games, and he is a phenomenal person. And I know that when he does pass on, as we all will eventually, he will be missed by everybody, but especially me. And I've only known him for a week, but I really, really have to say thank you to him for everything that he's done. He has sacrificed, given up so much of his time, his efforts. He was the first one to buy my book. Oh, wow. He's an amazing person.
Let's take a break. There's somebody, I got two persons on hold. Good afternoon, you're live. Hello, good afternoon, you're live.
Good afternoon, Carly.
Yes, Tiny, make it quick.
Yes, Carly. I have a hole here in front of me. I dropped down in the work. And nobody at the home here, nobody is coming here looking after me.
I sure that somebody listening will come and take it. But I got somebody on hold, eh?
Yeah, Major coming, Major say come here.
Yes.
But the program work and road here, very bad family. Boy was holy.
All right, Tiny, I run out of time here, please.
All right, Carly.
Take care, my sugar girl.
Yes, all right, me honey boy.
All right, later. That's the caller. 4565967 is the number to call us. 718-734-5615. Yes, yours truly is also a proud owner of an autograph copy. I'm in the big league here. You know, a big league and
you know who gave you the book, right?
Yeah,
Mr. Games.
Mr. Games came and
he's amazing.
It, you know, he came and delivered it. I haven't quite paid for it yet, but I promised I would catch up with him sometime this week. But like I said, you never walk alone. I know that, you know, for some, like me, like I mentioned that I've been shot in July, and post-traumatic stress syndrome, you know, is always present. If there is, you know, somebody claps their hand too loudly, you know, it kind of throws you in that space. So, you know, I understand the insomnia part of it, but I understand that with what you're doing, it can affect so many lives. You know, it could accept so many lives. And when I say that, I hope pedophiles are listening. I really do, because in a lot of ways, we could be doing something and thinking it's normal. Like you said, sometimes people are raised seeing, you know, fathers beating mothers, you know, or whatever, and they figure that it's a norm, and then they grow and then they get themselves into a challenging position, and there goes the value system that rises out of them. You know, what is the value system of the 4-year-old brownie singing "I am a warrior" when she comes to grips with reality? Is this an impossible dream for me to deal with because of the political implications that it can have? For all those persons who were saying that I'm talking too much, when I opened the lines, I didn't hear from any of you. You're not sitting here
with unbearable sorrow.
I know, Miss Headley, if I would have asked you any of the wrong questions today, let me apologize. Let me tell you, I apologize for all penis having men. Ah, boy. And because in a lot of ways, sometimes we don't necessarily know. I remember little boys, as a little boy, every you see a frog, you know, you want to turn it upside down and perform surgery, not necessarily thinking, well, okay, you know, or chase down somebody dog or pelt stone after, you know, understand, you know. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I want to talk about this. You talk about tradition. I had an experience last week where I saw a potential problem and an easy way to fix it. And I talked about the potential problem and the easy way to fix it. But who I had in mind to do it, could not do it. But 2 little boys heard me talk about it. And they figured a way as to how they can. But I'm convincing them, no, you can't do that. That is for somebody older than you. One of them climbed up on the wall and attempted to show me that, you know, he's Superman, like most boys have it ingrown in them. That's why the world improves. That's why we don't have a VCR no more. Things get better with time. Yes. So I'm appealing to this young man's intellect. Tell him, come down from there. You're not old enough. You know, you're not Superman. It's not a cartoon. Somebody heard me. Carlisle, that's a child. You just tell him to come down. And she told him to come down, and the child came down. And she goes, you see, now, where I'm from, that was not necessarily going to work. And it won't work here either. You know why? Because every time that child thinks that you're not watching, they go back and try it again. It's the authoritarianism that we might have here as to raising children that are different in America. Wherein that you could take a belt to a child here with no problem. But in America, it's a different story. I remember the last time I took a belt to my son, who is now 32 years old, and I'm extremely proud of. He looked at me and he said, well, you can do that now because you're bigger than me, right? And I'm now mouth popped open. Say, wait. He's going to wait until he gets bigger than me to return the favor. I say that to say, sometimes we have to break tradition if we understand that it's not working and the problem continues to persist. We have to step out of what we think is benefiting when it's not, for the greater good of the little 4-year-old brownies that wants to march in Kingstown and sing to the top of their voice, I am a warrior, a Christian warrior. Now, Ms. Headley, is there anything that you thought about talking about on this interview that I have not asked or prompted? Anything you prepared to talk about that we haven't had the opportunity to do so far?
I think I just really need to emphasize what I said earlier about the whole question of can you keep a secret, just so that there's clarity. That is really important. Whenever somebody comes up to you and asks you that question, irrespective of age or gender, when they ask you, can you keep a secret, you need to respond yes with your mouth, and it depends with your head. When they've told you the secret, you say to them, I have to break your trust and phone the police, etc. That is important. Please don't overcomplicate it. When I share, there are sometimes people in the audience who think they're smarter than me on this point. They're not. Please, please, there are people in your world who have been victims of abuse, are currently victims, and when you respond incorrectly, they will not disclose to you what they've been through. For you to protect and safeguard them, you need to respond yes to the question, can you keep a secret? Listen to the secret, decide what to do, communicate what you will do first, and then do it. Let me be clear, you are not keeping secrets. If a child says, I was raped yesterday, you are not keeping that a secret. You've heard the secret, and you communicate to them, because of what you've told me, I need to protect you, I need to ring the police. For example, that is important. And something else I want to point out too. As I've said earlier, I've slept on floors around the world. Why is that? I have not been working for 8 years. I've been volunteering. That means I've been working unpaid, traveling the world with very little money. As a result of that, over the last 8 years, everybody I have lived with has been a stranger. Last week, Saturday, Mr. Games was a stranger. Now he's my uncle in the Lord, right? The point I'm making, when I'm living with strangers, I've seen, and I'm sure you've all seen, toddlers pull down their skirt or their pants or run around naked. Now, the running around naked is not appropriate under any circumstances whatsoever. That is not okay. I was just driving around the other day right here in your country, and I saw a little boy that was naked. There are pedophiles in your country. And then even when we see little girls or boys, toddlers, pull down their skirt or their pants and start laughing, some of you may find that funny. You may laugh and say, oh, they're just being kids. I have never found that funny. The question I have, mentally of course, is who else are they entertaining? Because I know for me, and maybe all of us listening to this program, we were taught how to dress and undress in private. So when you see kids doing that, do not laugh. Get to the root cause. And on the back of that, like I mentioned earlier, I don't believe you can ask any victim directly, have you been abused? I don't believe that works. Instead, you need to ask them other questions and not just listen with your ears, but with your eyes, body language, and things like that. Sometimes it's simply the signs and identifiers they give off. If somebody has sleep issues, is insecure, is obese, has STDs, is pregnant, instead of judging her for being pregnant, ask yourself mentally, who is the father? At the end of the day, with all things, I recommend you ask yourself why. Why? Ask yourself why. When a little kid is pulling down their skirt or their pants, why? When a child is touching their genitals, why? When a girl or boy is promiscuous, why? I heard of a boy in Trinidad, and this boy would get to school early and have sex in the back of the classroom. Now, people hearing that would have judged him because we are very judgmental as human beings. However, what you would not have known is that he was sexually abused by his nanny as a child. And as the Bible says, do not awaken love before it desires. And when I was in Tobago, I heard a story from a teacher, and she shared about one of her students who came to school and was distressed. And she asked him what's wrong. And he said his mum was having a new baby. Now, I'm an only child, so I was thinking maybe he's an only child too, and he's feeling jealous. So she said to him, you should be excited, you're having a new brother or new sister. And he said, I'm not excited because I don't know if the baby is mine or my brother's. So mothers do it too. We have to understand that instead of judging a situation, a person, Ask yourself why. Do not say to a child, have you been abused? They will most likely deny it. Ask other questions. That's the only way to get the information. My dad asked me, my biological dad, of course, he asked me if I had been abused, and I denied it. And I had been asked other times, and I denied it. Not everybody is going to talk on the radio and TV about being abused. This is not my ministry, it's God's ministry. The Lord has opened a door for me to share. But let's say 7, 8 years ago, would I share? No, I wouldn't. Everybody is at different stages, and every one of us who's been through this is a survivor. And we have to understand that. We need to stop re-victimizing people and stop blaming. If a child was abused 4 years ago, don't say to him or her, why didn't you tell me? Do not blame them. I have been through a lot in my very young life, right? And my family, oh, you should have told us. It is not that easy. So don't do that. Stop the blaming. When you discover that a child has been abused, let's work forwards from here on out. At the end of the day, we have to protect the people around us. Let's start caring about the issue. When I'm gone, September 10th, Lord willing, when I'm gone, who's going to take up the baton? Every one of you has a responsibility. And please, if anyone asks you the question, can you keep a secret? Say yes to hear it. If they've got a bomb, for example, we'll tell them, because you've told me you've got a bomb, I've got to call the bomb squad or whatever. Don't overcomplicate it. Because I can tell you the truth, when I travel around the world, it's your kids, your nieces, your grandkids who are telling me their secrets because I say yes. And they tell me, this is the first time I've confided. I have men in the Caribbean open up to me and say they were abused for the first time. Do you understand? So please, do not overcomplicate it. Respond yes. Listen to the secret. Decide what to do and inform the authorities. That's the most important thing I can tell you, which is why I wrote a book on it. And like I said, I'm here until the 10th, Lord willing. If I can stay longer, that would be great. I speak anywhere. I am not limited by geographics. Please, please do reach out to me again. My number, 454-1693. I see people have been calling me. I'm on air. I can't answer, guys, especially when it's private number. It's not helpful. 454-1693. Facebook, Changing Cases. You will not find my personal name on there. My name on Facebook is Changing Cases, and you'll find me, Juanita Carr, C-A-R-R. Just type in Changing Cases, you'll find me. Website, changingcases.org. My number again, 454-1693. And just a final plug, Wednesday of next week at 6 p.m. at Kingstown Baptist Church, I'll be doing a presentation. Wednesday, 6 p.m., Kingstown Baptist Church, and Thursday, 7 p.m., at the New Testament Church of God, Wilson Hill, I'll be doing a presentation. Again, Wednesday, 6 p.m., Kingstown Baptist Church, and Thursday, 7 p.m., that will be New Testament Church of God, Wilson Hill. Both are free, books available for sale, t-shirts. Donations are appreciated. Remember, I quit my job to be here because I feel this is an important message. My job didn't want to give me the time off, and you know what? When God calls you, I will follow him, and that's why I'm here. So please come out and support. Please buy a book. Please donate. I don't want this to be a one-trip thing. Lord willing, I'll be back again sooner than later. So please, please reach out. 454-1693, Changing Cases. And please, no withheld numbers, guys. I can't call you back if you do that. 454-1693.
All right, somebody just sent a message, says, good morning, sir. Excellent program as usual. I'm interested in having the ladies speak to the men and women of the congregation I attend. Is the contact number 454-1693? Yes, once again, 454-1693. Another WhatsApp message here. It's not clicking. All right.
And of course, if you would like me to speak, please reach out ASAP. I get booked very fast. So please message me ASAP so I can schedule you. I am available. Time is short. If I can stay longer, I'd be more than happy to do so. But for right now, my departure is the 10th. Praying that I can stay longer, but let's just make the most of these next days. Please reach out to me as soon as possible so I can schedule you in. 454-1693, and you can find me on the internet. You Google me, First name, Juanita, Juanita. Second name, Headley, Headley. You just Google me on the internet. You can find all my information. Juanita, Headley, Headley. Google me. You'll see my videos, my materials. Reach out to me.
All right, before we go to this call, if you ever a policymaker, if you ever became an administrator, a politician, what do you think would be the appropriate punishment for somebody who committed the atrocities against you?
For me, the difficulty with that question is that I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ and the Bible. I'm a firm believer of John 3:16, and therefore I do not believe in the death penalty. In fact, my desire and my dream, besides safe houses, is to build bakeries around the world. I'm also a chef. I trained in United Nations in Switzerland.
You didn't bring any baked goods?
No, I did. I bought birthday cake, actually. Thanks for reminding me. There's only 3 pieces, guys. But my desire is to hire homeless people, former prostitutes, ex-convicts, including pedophiles. Let me explain something real quick. In New York, you may not know this. Once you commit a felony conviction, you cannot get free housing, free healthcare, free support. You cannot get anything. It is a system set up for the black and brown people to fail. So what do? Keep committing crimes. Therefore, it is my desire to provide a solution. If I can hire a pedophile, he'll stop selling his daughter for sex. Therefore, what is the appropriate punishment for me? Jail time. Jail time. Castrating men, or if you're like Duterte, the Filipino president, killing drug addicts in the Philippines, which is what he does not solve the problem of the drug addicts. If we castrate every pedophile, death penalty for every pedophile, there'll be a new pedophile that pops up. I believe we need to get to the root cause of why they are sexually abusing in the first place. And what we have to understand, it often comes out of pornography. Men, boys start reading magazines or Playboys or come upon it accidentally on the internet. They watch pornography with a man and a woman, and then they progress to multiple humans, and then sex with animals, bestiality, which includes with children, and then child pornography. But the issue is, when they've got to the child porn, they need to satisfy that urge, then they go on to perpetrate what they saw in their videos. Pornography is not okay under any circumstances, and most of the time the pornography you see is made without consent. And that's a lot of the time where this problem comes out of, exposing yourself to pornography. So what's the solution? Prison. That's my answer to the question. Is that going to solve anything? Obviously not. But education, when we can deal with the root of why these little boys are watching porn, when we can get to the root and educate them from small, the dynamics will change. Prison, prison, prison. The Lord that I serve believes in second chances, and all sin is equal. Any one of us could be a pedophile, so we need to stop judging and we need to get on our knees and start praying. We need to fight this in the spiritual, not in the natural.
All right. Well, let me thank you for coming. Let me thank you for coming, and I am wishing you all the success that in the world with the books. How much are the T-shirts? You mentioned that you have T-shirts.
That's correct. T-shirts and books, 70 EC. Reason the cost is so high is because as an unpaid lawyer, these safe houses, these bakeries can never be accomplished with no salary. The money, 60% of the money from books and T-shirts will be used for the bakeries and the safe houses. So please do support. I have a lot of big dreams. I may be an attorney, but I'll say it again. I'm pro bono. I am a British citizen, New York attorney. I don't have visa, green card papers, so I work in the U.S. for free, which will never build the bakeries,
so
never build the orphanage.
What are you saying? Mr. Games stole my T-shirt? Because he only brought the book to me?
So that would be 140 EC plus the VAT because you didn't pay on time and all that, right? I'm a lawyer and negotiator. Professional liar, right? That's what lawyers are, professional liars.
Well, my name is Carlisle, but everybody call me Carlisle.
I like that. I like that.
The pronouncement, the local pronouncement of my name is CYAR-LIE.
I like that.
And as a marketing tool, that has become a currency here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Just places you could go and say, Carl, I send you, and you save $500.
But seriously though, t-shirts, books, 70 EC.
Oh, so it's $7.70 for the t-shirt.
70 each because both of them are used for fundraising.
I thought I was entitled to a t-shirt with the
Of course not, then I wouldn't make no money for the orphanage. You're trying to be smart. You can't outsmart a lawyer. But no, really guys, each, because remember, pro bono, do not be paid for what I do. I came here, quit my job. For me to build the bakeries, I need funds. You buy the book, be educated, buy the t-shirt, can you keep a secret, 70 each. And then, of course, if you don't pay on time, you have to pay the VAT, the tax, the interest, all the rest. And I get free lunch as well. And vegan lunch. I'm a vegan.
And good to see you smiling.
Always.
Good to see you.
I smile on the inside, but it's a heavy topic, so it's kind of depressing. But I'm not here to depress you. I'm here to educate, empower, inspire, edify. Philippians 4, focus on what is positive. Focus on what is positive.
Exactly. It was great having you.
Thank you for the privilege.
Okay,
Yes,
I have one thing to say. I just want to thank Mrs. Headley to come on our program today and talk about her experience. It's not, I'm here sitting listening, and it's not, well, I'll be chill all over my body, and it's not an easy thing, right, to being abused at a young age. And I just wanted to put your trust in God. I need to say God is in control, and continue with the good work and spread your message around the world. And I'm really, truly appreciate you being here.
One of her speaking engagements, and you can ask away the questions that you want to hear. All right?
Bye, Mr. Douglas. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. You're live on Nice Radio.
Yeah, good afternoon, Carlisle.
Yes, sir.
Miss
Headley?
Yes, hello. Yeah, good afternoon, and let me also greet your guest.
Miss Headley?
And I am very pleased that she is able to address what I would say is the solution to the issue under discussion today. Sexual perversion is more than just culture. It is the essence of the human condition we label as sin. The only solution for sin is an encounter with Jesus Christ, a spiritual revolution. Because sexual perversion, incest, and everything around it is age old. I was a young man. I'm a Vincentian, born, bred, cake, moby, everything. I dated a young lady when I was about 19, 20, Christian girl, because I was in the church. We were friends. She told me that she was molested by her father. And it was known in the family. But things like that don't ever come out because of the taboo. How do you deal with that? Because a mother with other children wouldn't want to jail the man because he might have been the main breadwinner. So the solution is the issue here? There should be a legal framework in place to deal with such men. And women would have to be prepared to carry the burden if they have to jail their husbands or boyfriends. It's a tough call.
Right.
You have other children and to jail the man. I want to even suggest that we go back to a recommendation by a high court judge in Trinidad by the name of Aeneas Wills, who himself was a previous defense lawyer. When he sat on the bench, he used to pass judgment for 20 years and 20 strokes of the Cat 09 or whatever.
All right, caller, wrap it up for me, please. I got another.
Yes, some people need to get lashed.
I hear you.
As a deterrent to
Thanks.
these things. Thank you.
Take care. Ooh, Nice Radio. Good afternoon, your life.
Good afternoon, Carlisle.
Yes, sir. Doug Howard, how are you, sir?
Carlisle, I enjoy the program with this lady, but it's a painful program. And
Yes.
the reason why I enjoy the program with this lady is because of how she literally exposed a lot of this stuff that is going on and cover up in our nation. Not only St. Vincent, but a lot of these islands has a lot of these things covered up. And Carlisle, we things that is happening in our country and the abuse of our young children. And, you know, it pains the heart, but it is good to expose them. I disagree with her one thing. She said put them in jail. Now, in some of the countries of the Middle East, when you particularly when you rape a young girl, a woman, they execute you because you have destroyed the life of that person, and nobody in those society will want to deal with somebody like that. So the penalty in a lot of the fundamentalist Muslim country is execution, and I don't have no problem with that. None. But the lady says she don't believe in that. She believes in putting them in jail. I believe you put them in jail and they come out, and some of them come out worse, because in jails, people abuse them in jail and they come out and they extend the abuse when they come out. I've seen it happen firsthand with some people who go to jail. So, you know, I commend her, and I think it's an eye-opener. Is a taboo that a lot of we don't like to talk about. But it happens so much to some of our brightest people, and we destroy their lives in such a wicked way. So I want to really commend her on bringing this subject to light, even though I know about it before, but we're afraid to talk about it. And a lot of the people who you think should be bringing these things up, like the Christian Council, a lot of the non-governmental organization who looks out for people like this, a lot of them is mum when it comes to these kind of things in these countries, and they only come out when things happen. And St. Vincent has a serious problem, because in couple years we've been known around the world as one of the smallest nations with the highest percentage of rape, sexual abuse, and sexual predator among our people. So we got to talk about it. We got to expose them. We got to expose this here and get our children back to what is children, and get our females and our women back to what it is. And
wrap up for me, Doug. I'm running out of time.
Yeah, I want you to know it's not only women get sexual abuse in these islands. A lot of young boys and men too. Have a good one.
Take care. Thanks. Well, I really have to wrap it up now. Present time is 1:43. I have a paid call coming from one of our sponsors, and I only took one commercial break today. Miss Lavia, part of your responsibility is to manage that time. It's your first day here on the job, but just letting you know. These are things. Can't take any more calls. I'm sorry. Can't take any more calls unless, yes, it's from the sponsor. Good afternoon.